Well, over the last few days, we have seen several more European countries deciding to recognize Palestine as a state. This is all happening during the United Nations General Assembly meeting that's underway in New York. In the last few days, we've seen the UK, Australia, Malta, Belgium, Luxembourg, several others saying they were recognizing the Palestinian state. France has also said it will recognize Palestine as a country. Israel's condemned the moves. It's currently attacking Gaza in what our government, and now many others, says is a genocide there. Well, the former ambassador, Dr Kingsley Makhubela, joins us now. He's an expert on international relations. Mr. Ambassador, good afternoon to you, sir. How important is this move by these countries to recognise Palestinian statehood? If you had said 5 years ago that Britain would recognise Palestine, I don't think I would have believed you.
Good afternoon, Stephen. It's really unprecedented. You're quite correct. But it has set up a domino effect in terms of this recognition. What remains to be done, Stephen, is what's going to happen with the actual territory. You recall, as we are talking now, Israel occupies 78% of what used to be the British mandatory Palestine. And in terms of the agreement that established the State of Israel, 56% was given to Israel, 43% was given to Palestine, only 1%, which is Jerusalem, that remain under control of international community. So that's where the big challenge is going to be next as to what happens to the occupied land. We also know, as we are talking, Stephen, that about 500,000 people, Israelis, have occupied West Bank. And there are talks about the total seizure of West Bank by the Israeli government. So it's really uncharted territory at the same time.
Israel seems furious at what these European countries are doing, but bluntly, hasn't Israel created this? If it wasn't doing what it's doing in Gaza, if it wasn't committing what I think many people now see as a genocide, well, then these countries wouldn't be doing this. This is a direct response to Israel, is my question.
Absolutely. I think Israel has created a quagmire for itself. If you look at the civil society in these developed countries, the United Kingdom, Italy, France, and so the civil society have been up in arms about what they call is genocide going on in Gaza. And their governments have been quite mum at the beginning, but they are now compelled to come up and try to quell this building up of public discontent within their communities. But I don't think it's going to stop there, as I'm saying, Stephen. A lot of civil society members are going to want more out of this.
So you make a very interesting point about how unprecedented all of this is. But the key factor, of course, is that the US still supports Israel. And we all know how important that support is. And yet, I think it was The Economist over the weekend, that newspaper suggesting that, in fact, more and more Americans no longer support Israel. I mean, that would be a real shift.
You know, sometimes last year, Stephen, I did a bit of research on members of the legislature, both houses in the Capitol Hill. They were very divided in the middle in terms of the recognition and wanting the two-state solution. Now that Netanyahu is spreading the two-state solution, he's creating a big problem for himself in terms of keeping the cohesion of the US lawmakers to support him. But the public is also rising. Remember, the US public is not that gullible. They've been looking in terms of the media, what's going on in Gaza, and they are up in arms. They are lobbying their elected officials. Now, with the midterm election building up next year, you're likely to see a lot of changes. I've started to hear voices, even within the White House, really that are really discontent with the behavior of Netanyahu. I think this is what they didn't want to see, particularly leading up to elections. So Netanyahu is going to be in serious trouble, I think.
I remember, and I'm sure you remember, Mr. Ambassador, growing up with South Africa as being one of the most isolated countries in the world. And at the time, the apartheid government then basically invested in arms corps, in the military, all of the problems that created. Now, Israel, I mean, it really does remind me of that time for Israel, becoming more and more isolated, spending more and more of its money, more and more of its economy just going to weapons and going to war. The society becomes more and more isolated and, like happened here, more and more divided as well.
You know, President Trump, before coming to office during the campaigns, he said Israel has created a public relation nightmare for itself. As we are talking, Stephen, also UEFA is debating whether to really bar Israel from participating within the European football fraternity. There are other sanctions that are likely coming up. The Italians are under pressure to stop military shipments. Spain has done that already. They are not shipping any military equipment. Here in South Africa, pressure will be building up because South Africa keeps on sending large quantity of coals to Israel. So pressure will be building up. Colombia stopped shipping coals to Israel. So you're likely to see this isolationist Israel and the United States. And I think the US would at one stage dump Israel when they realize that the public has turned against them domestically. So I don't see the public within Israel to really accepting Israel as a pariah state, given the foundational principle of the state of Israel that was built on never again shall, human be disseminated in the manner in which they did during the Nazi war. So I'm really concerned about also the public within Israel. But Israel has shifted much more to the right. The left is gone. The Labour Party, as you know, it is gone. And I think it's left with the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin. It never recovered since then.
Sure.
So it has shifted more to the right. It's not only Israel, Stephen. The world is gravitating towards the far right, not even the center right, the far right, which creates a huge problem